Yo, what's up, folks? Welcome back to the channel. Now, you must have heard about the top 5 or top 10 things in just about everything, right? Well, today, we're doing something different. We're bringing you the top 6 frauds of the 21st century. Yep, you heard that right. 6 mind-blowing frauds that'll make your jaw hit the floor. Trust me, you won't believe what these fraudsters managed to pull off. But before we dive into this world of deception and deceit, make sure you hit that subscribe button and smash that like. If you love outrageous stories of scams and frauds, you don't want to miss out on the next one. Alright, buckle up because these frauds are wild. Number 1. The Sahara India Ponzi Scheme of 2010. Alright, let's kick things off with a fraud so massive it's still reverberating across India. Sahara India, run by Subrata Roy, convinced millions of small investors to pour money into what seemed like foolproof, high-return investments. They promised returns of up to 15 to 20%, which is wildly high when you compare it to the average market returns. Their investment pitches were about real estate, infrastructure, and even sports franchises, but none of these were real or were drastically overvalued. Roy's operation ran as a classic Ponzi scheme, taking money from new investors to pay returns to earlier investors. The Fed stepped in around 2014, and Roy was arrested for contempt of court after he repeatedly refused to return the funds to investors. By the time the dust settled, it's estimated that the total amount defrauded was in the billions. Roy's luxurious lifestyle, which included private jets, hotels, and more, gave him an air of untouchability. But in the end, the scheme was exposed as a house of cards. Number 2. The Madoff Securities Scheme of 2008. If you think of massive fraud, Bernie Madoff's name will probably come up. $64.8 billion worth of investor funds were wiped out in what was, until recently, the largest Ponzi scheme in history. Madoff built a stellar reputation on Wall Street over decades. He was a former chairman of the NASDAQ stock market, so when he told people he could offer steady double-digit returns, everyone believed him. But it was all smoke and mirrors. Madoff wasn't investing the money. Instead, he used new investor money to pay returns to older investors, a hallmark of any Ponzi scheme. Madoff's fraud ran for decades before it collapsed under the weight of the 2008 financial crisis. Investors, many of whom were high-net-worth individuals, celebrities, charities, and even hedge funds, were caught off guard when the truth came out. People lost their entire life savings. Madoff was sentenced to 150 years in prison, and this case is a classic lesson in the dangers of blind trust. Number 3. The Kerviel Fraud of 2008. Jérôme Kerviel, a trader at Société Générale, may not have been a household name, but his fraudulent activities shocked the global financial system. Kerviel was employed to handle low-risk trades, but instead, he secretly opened up massive, risky positions worth 50 billion euros, an absurdly large amount for a single trader. He used complex techniques to hide his trades, falsified documents, and made it look like everything was normal. When the trades went sour in early 2008, the bank was hit with a 4.9 billion euros loss. The media painted Kerviel as a rogue trader who brought down a giant, but many believe that Société Générale's risk management system failed to catch his actions. Kerviel was sentenced to 5 years in prison, though his sentence was reduced on appeal, and the scandal raised questions about the lack of oversight in banks that allow such large bets to go unnoticed. Number 4. The Enron Scandal of 2001. Enron was once the 7th largest company in America, a darling of Wall Street, and a symbol of American capitalism, until it became the epitome of corporate fraud. The company's executives used complex accounting tricks to hide billions in debt through off-balance sheet entities. They inflated profits, hid liabilities, and used their fake numbers to boost the stock price. When the truth came out in 2001, Enron's stock price collapsed from over $90 to under $1. Thousands of employees lost their jobs, savings, and pensions. The scandal led to one of the largest bankruptcies in U.S. history, and its accounting firm, Arthur Andersen, was effectively destroyed. Enron's collapse was a wake-up call for investors, regulators, and corporate America, showing how deep deception could go. Number 5. The Bernie Madoff and WorldCom Fraud of 2002. In the early 2000s, WorldCom, one of the largest telecom companies in the US, was rocked by a fraud that involved inflating earnings by a staggering $11 billion. Bernie Madoff, the CEO, led the company by capitalizing on operating expenses and falsely inflating the value of assets. The company's financial statements were designed to make it look more profitable than it actually was. When the fraud was uncovered in 2002, WorldCom declared bankruptcy, the largest in U.S. history at the time. Investors lost nearly $180 billion, and Madoff was sentenced to 25 years in prison for his role in the scandal. WorldCom's downfall changed the corporate landscape forever, pushing for more stringent accounting rules and oversight in the wake of such massive deception. Number 6. The Theranos Scandal of 2016. Elizabeth Holmes, the founder of Theranos, seemed like the next big thing in Silicon Valley. She promised to revolutionize medical diagnostics with a device that could perform hundreds of tests with just a drop of blood. She raised $700 million in funding from high-profile investors, including Warren Buffett and Rupert Murdoch. Holmes convinced people that she had created a breakthrough in medical technology, except it was all a lie. It turned out that the technology didn't work at all, and the company had falsified test results to appear as though it was performing miracles. Theranos collapsed in 2016, and Holmes was charged with fraud. She faced a high-profile trial, and her reputation as a tech visionary came crashing down. The case raised alarms about the perils of unchecked innovation in Silicon Valley and how fraudsters can deceive the elite with fancy words and flashy pitches. So there you have it, the top 6 frauds of the 21st century. From Ponzi schemes to corporate deceit and shady dealings, these stories prove that fraud knows no bounds. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with your friends. You never know, someone might need a little shock therapy about the dark side of the world of fraud. And remember, trust, but verify. Stay tuned for more jaw-dropping stories. Catch you later.